Hello and welcome to a 2019 review of the Memorial Tournament. Patrick Cantlay is the winner, and he was on the thumbnail of my preview. So we hit there. We didn't hit on Rory. Rory was a guy that I liked quite a bit. He had a very, very disappointing Friday round. His last four holes were just awful. If you didn't watch what he did on Okay, so he had a par five. I think it was a 16th hole, or it was his 15th hole. Um, he hit it kind of in the crap off of his drive. He then had to lay up, and with his third shot, he had like 80 some yards. He landed it pin high. Sounds good, right? Except for he put about, I don't know, 12 feet of backspin on it, and as the ball was going back, all it did was pick up more speed because there was a false front. The ball trickled all the way down, pretty darn close to the water hazard. It didn't go in the water hazard, but his 80-yard shot only showed up as 20 yards, as if he just chunked it over the water. And then he chopped that one onto the green and two-putted for a bogey. Rory McIlroy on a par 5. He was +2 at the time. Um, no, he was +1 at the time. He went to +2 because of the bogey on the par 5. And then he had a 4-foot putt on 17. He was pin hunting. He almost made his birdie chip. And then the little 4-foot putt that he had, he lipped out, got another bogey. That put him to +3. And then he birdied hole 18, one of the harder holes. Actually, I think it's the hardest hole on that golf course. Birdies that one. So he missed the cut by one. I had 30% ownership of Rory in all of my lineups, and had a really good lineup in the King of the Hill tournament. I was leading it after Friday's round, or I should say after Thursday's. I'm sorry, Friday morning I was leading it, and that was before Rory teed off. So unfortunately, couldn't win that one. It didn't look like, unless Rory would have won the tournament, that I would have won it anyways. So it's all good. I doubled my original investment, so thankful for that. But let's just get right into the process. So if you remember from the bucket system during the preview, I had said we wanted at least 2 to 6 ones for last week. So that's right here. There was only one prior to today. So I mean, this is what we kind of struck out with. It was 2 to 5. Sorry, not 2 to 6. But I had created so many lineups that had 2 ones. Actually, all of my lineups had at least 2, which is, it's fine. There were some 2s. We'll look at the kind of the leaderboard. There were some, I should say, there were some 1s that were inside the top 20, so it wouldn't have hurt you if you would have played some of them. But for top 10 purposes, as we do the bucket system, didn't work out for us. The highest was actually golfers who missed the cut last year, the year before. So we saw 4 of those in the top 10. Now there is one point of contention I'd like to make. In the top 5, this still holds true. There was at least one golfer who finished the year prior in 20th to 40th place. So this still holds true. Now, again, we only go by top 10, so that would have been the light green. Up here, it's obviously dark because that is the higher confidence for that. So I did make sure I had at least 120 to 40. So I had one yellow golfer in all of my lineups. And actually, just to make that point clear, or just to prove to you guys that's what I did, I'll show you my lineups. So for the 2019 Memorial, so you can see this column here is all yellow. It looks like, for these ones I didn't, but that was just to randomize it, and that's fine. But as you can tell, most of my lineups had one yellow in there. And I did a lot of Adam Scott and Gary Woodland. So if we go here, this will show you the ownership rating of who I had. I didn't put the results on my lineup one, but Grillo, I did actually play some Grillo. He was in one of my lineups, so I don't know why this isn't showing. Oh, I get why. Oh, ownership goes up a little bit. Fancy that. Of course it does. Bryson. Where were we? Grillo, right? There we go. So 9 lineups of Grillo in it. But yeah, as you can tell, Rory was my top, well, one of the top guys. I'm sorry, of the guys above. I'm just gonna cherry pick these stats. 11K, he was my top guy. Just stupid. Patrick Cantlay, as you can tell, almost in 50% of my lineups. He was definitely a guy that I really liked. Him and Rory had him in a bunch of pairings together, so obviously I struck out with those. But we did get to stay away from people like Justin Thomas. I played some Kuchar, but I think Kuchar was like owned in 25% of lineups in a lot of the events. So we kind of avoided that landmine, as you can see, Adam Scott and Gary Woodland. So I mean, really, the process it worked quite a bit. Now, going back to let's go to the DK tab here. So I did sort it by finishing position. As you can see, like there's a bunch of ones right here, and honestly, Kyung Hoon Lee, he was leading this tournament after Friday's round, and still much into Saturday's round, he just fell off the edge of the map. I mean, I think his last round or his Sunday round, he was +6 or +7, something like that. So choked that one away, but it was looking good. It was him and Martin Keimer at the top. Unfortunately, I didn't play any Keimer, which is kind of a disappointment. But as you can see, I mean, we have all the different. It's almost a rainbow at the top here. The top 5 had one of each color. Um, well, one of each color other than orange, which dominated the top 10. Because you had the likes of Colley, Horschel, Duffner, and Spieth. And I mean, I guess if we look at course history, like look at that. Course history is pretty darn good for the guys that finished inside the top 10. That's what got me on Grillo. I did think about playing some Keimer. He doesn't have any course history. I mean, my course history only goes back to 2013, so it's kind of a reason I didn't play him. But you've got all these great POA splits. Again, Keimer being the worst. And one piece of Keimer, I listened to a lot of PGA Tour radio, and he did an interview on there, which was kind of interesting. He said he figured something out with his putting. He uses an alignment aid, and apparently his alignment was off. And I mean, he was putting fantastically. I think at one point in time he was 12 for 12 for scrambling, and he's not very good at scrambling. But of course, there's two pieces to scrambling. First, getting the ball on the green from around it, and then making the putt. Well, if you continuously make your putts for par, your scrambling stat's going to be good. So his scrambling was doing well. We all know Keimer's not very good around the green. Um, so it all worked out, for Keimer, and his putting was really the thing that really helped him out. So I did want to play him, but I just didn't like his stats. And in fact, I mean, I have kind of the stats written out here, but just for comparing it to the rest of the field, I'm going to hide these columns, and we're going to show the ranking. This is the ranking for the tournament for that field. So we have a lot of, I mean, Patrick Cantlay just dominated. Look at that. I mean, that's pretty fantastic. Um, Keimer doesn't come in with very good stats. That's kind of crazy. His around the green was 47th. That's awesome. I didn't foresee that, and obviously, common perception doesn't always reign true. Putting, I mean, he just wasn't that great, and it was out of 120 golfers, so that's where these rankings come into play. But he had a 15% clip of finding the top 10 with POA. This only helps. Overall stats not the greatest, but he checked out. I also like to look at morning versus afternoon. So for the top 5, looks like we had 3 in the afternoon, 2 in the morning, and then it's just another hodgepodge, kind of split down the middle. between morning and afternoon. Um, don't really care about the odds too much. Points per game is another thing I like to look at, and then look at the value. Really, nothing stands out of the ordinary. I mean, just look at the POA splits. That's the one thing that I will always drive home. You don't even see anyone here with 0%. You have to go all the way down to Andrew Putnam. So, if you stuck to the bucket system, it worked in your favor for most of it. I was touting up finding two golfers that were in the bucket of one for last year. Again, you could have done well um, using that. I don't know who you would have picked out of any of these golfers. I know Stricker was kind of a favorite of some people, but definitely not mine. I was more on Hatton, and he didn't finish too bad. Hatton and Haotong. So I mean, it looks all good. I also I haven't done this before. I haven't shown it before, but I will come up and update these. Put down an optimal lineup just based off a finishing position. Hideki could have scored more than Mark Leishman, and these two could have scored more than Streelman, and they would have been put in there. But just to show you, off of placement, these little black marks show the optimal lineup. The light green highlighted is the $5 drive the green lineup. So honestly, I mean, the drive the green lineup was pretty good, but there was room for improvement. So, certainly could have followed the system. Uh, it would have got you on your twos, your threes, and your ones pretty decent, and hopefully you would have played some fours because that was in each top 10, I believe. So, yeah, I'm not going to look it up, but yeah, just interesting to look at this, look it over. The drive the green lineup, I like that it was exactly 50,000. So, some people who look at, leaving money on the table, you don't have to. This was good enough to win a tournament, and it was actually a really good lineup they put together. So it's nice seeing Tiger finishing well. He had an awesome Sunday round. I like, obviously Tiger he has really good. Although this is only from 2013, he has really good course history at this course. Spieth showing up. He's definitely someone to look at going forward. Matsuyama, course history was good. Same with where is he? Duffner. Duffner has done well at this golf course quite a bit. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe course history is something we look at going forward. There wasn't really a stat that we wanted to follow. Tee to green is always a solid stat to use. We had 3 people in the top 20. We had 2 people in the top 24 off of the tee. Approach is kind of interesting. I mean, there's 3 in the top 20, so I guess it's not that crazy. But birdie or better, it's pretty good. That was a good one to go after. Keimer's just really the only outlier here that I don't know why you would have picked him. Um, yeah, I think he's really the only golfer out of anyone from the top 10. I think I liked Collie. Yeah, honestly, I think Keimer is the only one that really came out of left field. I mean, I haven't heard anything much about him, but I think that's where I'm gonna leave it off. I don't have anything else that I need to talk to. Preview show for the Canadian Open will be up hopefully by Tuesday, and hopefully I'll have some new graphics. I did create well, we have a logo as you can see down, and the show is going to be called Sweet Spot DFS going forward. So hopefully I have an intro video for you guys, and yeah, hopefully some interesting graphics to make it a little bit more exciting. But with that, I'm gonna give you back your day. Hopefully you guys did well, and I will see you Tuesday. See ya.